What if you gave your entire life to a promise, your blood, your sweat, every sleepless night, only to find out your family broke it behind your back? That's what happened to me. My name is Emma Carter, and I poured 12 years into our family's empire, believing it would be mine. Then I found a document that shattered everything. They gave it to my brother, the one who barely showed up when my dad called, begging me to save the sinking ship. I said 4 words that changed my world: let Michael fix it. What came next is a story of betrayal, heartbreak, and a twist so shocking it rewrote my future. Stay with me, you won't believe how this ends. I grew up in the heart of Everett Builders, our family's construction company nestled in Seattle's bustling core. My earliest memories are of crawling under my dad's mahogany desk, a fortress of polished wood, my crayons scratching across old invoices while he barked orders into a clunky rotary phone. I was 8, mimicking the blueprints tacked to the walls. My hands smudged with color, Emma, Dad would say, his voice warm, his eyes twinkling like Puget Sound at sunset. One day, you'll run this place. You've got the Carter grit. Those words weren't just talk, they carved my path, my purpose. I can still smell the sawdust from summer days trailing Dad James Carter around construction sites. He'd hoist me onto his shoulders, pointing at skeletal houses rising from the dirt. See that? That's us, building dreams. My laughter mixed with the hum of drills. My hands sticky from popsicles had grabbed from the ice cream truck that rumbled by. My brother, Michael, 2 years older at 35 now. Was there 2 sometimes? Sketching cranes or workers in his tattered notebook. Lost in his own world. Michael's an artist. Dad would chuckle, ruffling my hair. But you, Emma, you'll keep this legacy alive. By 12, I was answering phones at Everett Builders, my voice steady as I booked client meetings. Clients would laugh, saying, "This kid's gonna run the show before she's out of high school." Dad would grin, his hand heavy on my shoulder. "She's got the Carter business sense," he'd boast. Those moments were my fuel. I remember Sunday dinners at our Queen Anne home, Mom's beef stew filling the air. Michael and I trading dumb jokes while Dad spun stories about Grandpa starting the company with just a toolbox and a dream. Mom Susan would watch us, her eyes soft, like she was bottling those nights for safekeeping. Once, Michael sketched me at the table, my hair a mess, and slipped it to me later. "You're the family's rock." He said, his smile shy. Fast forward to my 20s. I picked the University of Washington for business management, turning down offers from slick firms in Chicago and New York. Everett Builders was my home, my future. The Monday after graduation, I stepped into our office, coffee and blueprint ink in the air, and got to work. For 12 years, I was the first to flip on the lights at dawn, the last to lock up under streetlights. I traded dusty ledgers for Asana and QuickBooks, memorized every client's name, their kids' birthdays, their coffee orders. As operations manager, I tripled our revenue, landing heavyweights like Pacific Heights Corp. I slept on the office couch during crunch times, my personal life a ghost. Missed weddings, broken relationships, vacations I never took, all because I believed I was building my future. Then there was Michael, my free-spirited brother, who spent his 20s in Los Angeles, painting murals and haunting art galleries, had breezed back to Seattle every few years, dazzling us with tales of Venice Beach sunsets or late-night poetry slams. 2 years ago, after a rough breakup, he moved home. Dad created a vague creative director role for him at Everett Builders. Michael worked maybe 20 hours a week, took long lunches, left by 4. His flashy brochures and sleek website were good, but operations, that was my world, always mine. Mom kept us anchored with those Sunday dinners, the table groaning under her chocolate chip cookies and stew. But lately, something felt off. Talk about the company's future would hush when I walked in. Mom would pivot to her garden club or the neighbor's new dog. Her smile strained. Dad would clear his throat, change the subject. Michael would fidget with his fork. Avoiding my eyes, I remember one night, Mom refilled my wine glass, her hand trembling. "Emma, you work too hard," she said. "Too quickly. Let's not talk shop tonight." I should have seen it. The closed-door meetings between Dad and Michael. The way Mom's laughter felt forced. But I trusted them. They were my family bound by popsicles, sawdust, and those warm Sunday nights. I held tight to Dad's promise, to the memory of Michael calling me the family's rock, to the belief that my 12 years of sacrifice meant something, that Everett Builders would be mine. I was so wrong. It was a crisp Friday afternoon in late September, the kind where Seattle's skyline sparkles against a rare clear sky. I was knee-deep in Everett Builders' filing cabinet, hunting for the Pacific Heights contract after spotting a billing error. My brother Michael's latest creative idea, chaotic office reorganization, had turned our once tidy filing system into a mess. Papers were mislabeled, folders stuffed haphazardly. I muttered under my breath, digging through a drawer marked confidential legal docs, expecting to find the contract buried there. Instead, my fingers brushed a thick manila folder labeled Everett Builders Ownership Transfer. My stomach twisted, like the moment you miss a step on a staircase. I told myself it was probably old paperwork, something from when Grandpa passed the company to Dad decades ago. But the date on the first page hit me like a freight train, January 12th. 8 months ago. My eyes scanned the dense legal text, words jumping out like daggers. Hereby transfers 75% ownership to Michael James Carter, remaining 25% retained by James and Susan Carter. My name, Emma Carter, was nowhere in the 25 pages. The office spun. The fluorescent lights buzzed too loud. The air too thin. I sank into a chair, hands trembling as I flipped through the document, searching for some mistake, some clause to explain this away. Nothing. I saw Dad's signature, Mom's, Michael Saul inked 8 months ago, while I was pulling all-nighters to close deals. My mind flashed to a memory Dad and me at a job site when I was 16. Him handing me a hard hat, saying, "This company's your birthright." I'd grinned, the weight of that hat making me feel invincible. Now, that memory burned like acid. I don't know how long I sat there, staring at the papers, before Janet, our office manager since I was in diapers, appeared in the doorway. "Emma, you okay?" Her eyes flicked to the folder, and her face crumpled from concern to guilt. "Did you know?" I whispered, my voice barely holding. Janet stared at her worn sneakers. Most of the senior staff knew. She admitted. "Your dad said he'd tell you when the time was right. 8 months. "Janet," I snapped, a hysterical edge creeping in. "When was the right time?" She reached for me, but I pulled back, clutching the folder like a shield. "Who else?" I demanded. "The senior team," she said softly. "For contract signings. The betrayal wasn't just my family's, it was everyone's. They'd watched me work myself raw, knowing Michael, who barely clocked 20 hours a week, owned my future." I grabbed my purse, leaving my laptop and half-finished reports behind. Nothing mattered anymore. The drive home was a blurred lights ignored, horns blaring. My apartment overlooked Puget Sound, its waters glittering under the city's lights. But tonight it felt like a void. I sank onto the couch, the folder still in my hands, and memories flooded in. Sunday dinners, Michael laughing as he sketched me across the table, calling me the family's rock. The time Dad and I stayed up late painting the office walls. Him saying, "You're my legacy." Were those lies? Had I been blind? Too busy working to see the truth? I asked myself, what did I do wrong? Was I not enough? The questions clawed at me, vultures circling a corpse. I thought of every late night, every client I'd won, every dream I'd shelved for Everett Builders. 12 years. Gone. I reached for my phone and dialed my best friend. Lily. M. Are you crying? She answered. Alarm in her voice. They gave it to Michael. I choked out. 75%. 8 months ago. Behind my back. Oh my God. Lily breathed. I'm coming over. Don't move. 30 minutes later. She was there, wrapping me in a hug as I sobbed. 12 years. Lily, I said, my voice breaking. I gave them everything. Sunday evening arrived like a storm cloud over Seattle's misty hills. I pulled into the driveway of my parents' Queen Anne home. The familiar brick facade glowing under the porch light, the smell of Mom's beef stew hit me as I stepped inside. A scent that used to mean warmth, togetherness. Now it felt like a cruel echo of a life I thought I knew. My hands clutched the manila folder with the ownership transfer, its edges creased from 2 days of gripping it like a lifeline. I'd spent Saturday with Lily, plotting my next move. But nothing prepared me for this moment. I was about to face my family, not as their daughter or sister, but as the one they betrayed. The dining room was painfully normal. Dad sat in his armchair, glasses perched on his nose, flipping through project reports. Michael set the table, laughing at something Mom said in the kitchen. It was the same scene from 100 Sunday dinners, the ones where we'd trade stories over Mom's chocolate chip cookies, where Michael once sketched me as the family's rock. I could almost hear our laughter from years ago, when we'd all piled into the office to paint its walls one summer. Dad smearing paint on my cheek, Michael joking I'd make a better artist than builder. Those memories stabbed deeper than the betrayal itself. Emma. Perfect timing. Mom called, her voice bright as she emerged with a steaming pot. Dinner's ready. I forced a smile, accepting her hug like a robot. Can I help? I asked, my voice flat. Michael's got it covered, she said, waving me off. Michael shot me a grin. Hey, Em, how's your weekend? I texted about the Pacific Heights pitch, but you didn't reply. Because I was unraveling the lie you all built. I thought, bitterness rising. Needed a break, I said vaguely. Sitting down, dinner was torture. Michael rambled about a new marketing campaign. Dad nodding like he'd hung the moon. Mom tried to steer the talk to her garden club. Her voice too cheerful. I pushed stew around my plate, barely eating, my pulse hammering. Every word felt like a charade. I saw us as kids, Michael and me racing bikes down the hill behind this house. Him cheering when I beat him, saying, "You're unstoppable." M. Was that boy gone? Was this family a lie? After dessert apple pie I couldn't taste, Dad stood. I'm catching the game. Michael, swing by my study later. Supplier issue. My moment had come. Actually, I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. I need to talk to all of you. Now. The room froze. Mom's hand hovered over a plate. Michael's smile faded. Dad sat back down, eyes narrowing. What's this about? Emma, Mom asked, worry creeping in. I placed the folder on the table. Deliberate, like laying down a gauntlet. When were you going to tell me about this? Silence swallowed the room. Dad's face hardened. The look he used on tough clients. Mom's hand flew to her throat. Michael stared at his napkin, like it held answers. Where did you get that? Dad finally asked. Does it matter? I shot back. Were you ever going to tell me? Or was I supposed to work 80-hour weeks forever? Clueless that Michael owns my future. Sweetheart? Mom started, reaching for me. We were going to tell you. 8 months ago would have been nice. Mom. I yanked my hand away, my voice rising. Before you signed away the company I bled for. Dad leaned forward, his tone all business. This was strategic. Emma, Michael has a fresh vision. The industry's changing. Vision. I laughed. Sharp and bitter. He works 20 hours a week. I gave up everything: friendships, relationships, sleep for your promise. I missed my best friend's wedding. Ended 2 relationships. Never took a vacation. 12 years. Dad. For a company you swore was mine. My voice cracked. But I didn't care. I saw Michael's sketch of me under rain, his words echoing, always strong. But so alone. Was I alone because I'd pushed them away? Too focused on work. You still have a job, Dad said, dismissive. A good one. A job. I slammed my hand on the table, silverware rattling. I've been running this company while you played golf with clients. And Michael? I turned to him. How many hours did you work this week? 20. I pulled 3 all-nighters for Pacific Heights. Michael's eyes were red, but he said nothing. Emma. We're family. Mom pleaded, tears welling. We can work this out. Family doesn't do this, I said, standing, grabbing my purse. If Michael owns it, he can run it. I quit, Dad sputtered. You can't. The Pacific Heights project starts next week. Let Michael handle it, I said coldly. Heading for the door, Michael called my name, but I didn't turn back. Outside, the Seattle rain started, soaking me as I reached my car. I saw us painting that office. Dad's proud grin, Michael's laughter. Had it all been a lie? Monday morning. My alarm didn't ring. For the first time in 12 years. I didn't rush to the office. I pulled on sweats, walked to Gasworks Park, and stood by Lake Union. The water gray under a cloudy sky. Freedom felt strange, liberating, yet empty. I called David Reed, my old mentor, now CEO of Cascade Innovations. Emma, he said, you're worth more than they've given you. Protect that worth. His words lit a spark. Maybe I wasn't just Everett Builders. Maybe I was enough on my own. The week after I walked out of that Sunday dinner felt like stepping off a cliff. Seattle's gray skies mirrored the void inside me. Everett Builders had been my identity for 12 years. And without it, I was unmoored. It silenced my work phone. But the absence of its constant buzz was deafening. I spent my days wandering, tracing paths I'd never had time for. One morning, I stood at Gasworks Park, the rusted towers stark against Lake Union, and wondered, who am I without the company? I saw myself at 16, Dad teaching me to drive in the empty lot behind our office, his patient voice guiding me through a stick shift. You've got this. Em, he'd said, grinning. That memory, once warm, now twisted like a knife. Had he meant any of it? By day 3, the text started. Michael, frantic M, where's the Pacific Heights contract revision? Then, the Westridge client wants you, not me. What do I say? By day 5, a voicemail from Dad, his voice tight. Emma, this is ridiculous. We have clients to answer to. Call me back. Mom's messages were softer. Laced with guilt, sweetheart. We're worried. This isn't you. Abandoning your work. I deleted them all. But each one stung. I remembered Mom's face at those Sunday dinners. Her eyes bright as she passed me cookies, saying, You're our anchor. Emma. Was I abandoning them? Or had they abandoned me first? On day 6, Robert Kane, CEO of Pacific Heights Corp's biggest client. Worth $15 million in annual revenue, called my personal cell. Emma, what's going on? His gruff voice crackled through the speaker. I'm working with Michael, but he doesn't know the project specs from a hole in the ground. I closed my eyes. The familiar pull of duty tugging at me. I'm on leave. Mr. Kane, I said carefully. Michael can handle it. That's not what I asked. He pressed. You've been my point person for years. Now you're gone. And no one's giving me straight answers. I've got a $15 million project starting. And I need someone who knows what they're doing. I'm not in charge anymore, I said, my voice steady, but my heart racing. If you're not confident in Michael, you might want to explore other options. A long pause. If you land somewhere else. Emma, give me a call. Loyalty to competence beats loyalty to companies any day. His words lingered. A spark of validation. That night. I stood on my balcony, Puget Sound glittering below, and let myself imagine a life beyond Everett Builders, but the thought brought a memory Michael and me as kids. Building a fort in the backyard. Him saying, "You're the boss. But he'll make it look cool." Had I been too hard on him? Was he as trapped as I felt? Day 7. Dad called again. I answered. Something in his tone raw. Panicked, pulling me in. "Emma." He barked. "Pacific Heights is pulling their contract. $15 million. They won't work with Michael. You need to come in tomorrow and fix this. A week ago, I'd have raced to the office, working through the night to save the deal. Now." A strange calm settled over me. "Let Michael handle it," I said evenly. "He owns the company. Doesn't he? Damn it." "Emma," Dad shouted, "this isn't a game. This is your grandfather's legacy. Your legacy." I cut in, anger flaring. "You gave my legacy to Michael. Remember? We don't have time for this," he snapped. "Kane wants answers by morning, or he's going to Westfield. Then Michael better prep a killer presentation," I said, ending the call. My hands shook as I set the phone down, expecting Dad to show up at my door. 20 minutes later, my buzzer rang. Through the peephole, I saw Dad, his silver hair disheveled, his tie askew, a man I barely recognized. The confident James Carter was gone, replaced by someone desperate. "Emma," he said when I opened the door, pushing past me into my living room. "Do you know what you've done?" I leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Sounds like a management problem. "Dad, good thing Michael's the owner." His face reddened. "This isn't funny." "Pacific Heights is just the start," Westridge called. "Asking for you. The Maxwell bid's due Friday, and Michael can't make sense of your notes. Then you're facing the consequences of giving the company to someone who can't run it," I said, my voice calm but sharp. "He offered me a deal, chief operations officer, double your salary, corner office." I almost laughed. "You want me to do the same job I've done for years, under Michael. What do you want?" he demanded, exasperated. 40% ownership, board seat, 45-hour work weeks. I paused, then dropped the bomb. Or I joined Cascade Innovations. Kane and 2 other clients already said they'd follow me. His eyes widened, fear flickering. "You destroy us." "No, Dad," I said, my voice steady. "You did that when you betrayed me. Inside." I wavered. I saw Dad teaching me to drive, his laugh when I stalled the car. Am I being too harsh? But then I remembered the folder, the lies, the 8 months of silence. If I didn't stand up now, I'd lose myself forever. The meeting was set at the Pink Door, a Seattle gem with views of Puget Sound's shimmering waters. I walked in at noon, my power suit crisp, my heart pounding like a jackhammer. This wasn't a family dinner, it was a showdown. My parents, Michael, and our family lawyer, Harold Peterson, sat at a corner table, a leather portfolio open before them. Mom stood to hug me, but I offered a handshake, my expression neutral. This was business. Dad nodded stiffly. Michael barely met my eyes. I sat, ready to fight for my worth. Before anyone could speak, Michael stood, his hands fidgeting with a napkin. "Emma," he said, his voice breaking, "I need to say something. I'm sorry. I never meant to take what was yours." His eyes, red-rimmed, locked onto mine. "I didn't know Dad promised you the company. Not until after I signed." I froze, his words hitting like a rogue wave. "What?" Then why did you take it? I asked, my voice sharp but wavering. Here came the twist. Michael took a shaky breath. Dad told me if I didn't take the 75%, he'd sell Everett Builders to a corporate giant. He said the market was shifting. And I was the only way to keep it in the family. I thought I was saving it for all of us. But I'm drowning. I can't run this place. Not like you. The room tilted. I saw us as kids, building a backyard fort. Michael laughing. You're the boss. I just make it look cool. I dismissed those memories as lies. But now they flooded back, him calling me from L.A., voice bright, asking about my day while I brushed him off, buried in work. Had I misjudged him? Was he as much a victim as me? My anger clashed with a new, aching empathy. I wanted to hate him, but his words cracked that resolve. Dad cleared his throat, his face tight with shame. I may have downplayed your expectations. Emma, I thought it'd be easier this way. Mom reached for my hand but stopped short. We haven't slept since you left, she said softly. Not just because of the business, but because we hurt you. I wavered, remembering Dad teaching me to drive, his patient laugh when I stalled the car, or Michael's sketch of me under rain, saying, "You're strong, but so alone. Could I forgive them? Or was this just another manipulation?" My heart screamed to walk away. But something, maybe those Sunday dinners, Mom's cookies, our painted office walls held me there. Harold, the lawyer, cut in. Let's discuss terms. The negotiation was brutal. Dad offered 20% ownership. I rejected it flat. Then Michael shocked us all. I'll give Emma 35% from my share, he said. I never wanted to be the majority owner. I just wanted to contribute. My jaw dropped. His giving it up. You could have told me that years ago, I said. Softer now, the bite fading. We hammered out a deal, 35% ownership to me, reducing Michael's to 40%. Dad and Mom kept 25%. IDB Chief Operations Officer, equal decision-making power with Michael, who'd focus on creative direction, his strength. We capped executive hours at 45 per week, ending Dad's grind culture. Michael and I stepped onto the restaurant's riverside patio, the sound's waves lapping below. I always thought you were the favorite, he admitted. Staring at the water, Dad bragged about your Carter grit while I was the screw-up artist when he offered me the company. It felt like my chance to matter. I blinked. Stunned? He thought I was the favorite. I saw us racing bikes down the Queen Anne Hill, him cheering when I won. We never really talked. Did we? I said, not about what matters. I don't want to be CEO. Michael said, I'm terrible at it, but I want to build with you, your brains, my ideas, for the first time. I saw a future where we weren't rivals but partners. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a start. As we returned to sign the preliminary agreement, I felt a shift, not peace, but possibility. Maybe family could be rebuilt, like one of our houses, from the ground up. A month later, I walked into Everett Builders as co-owner and chief operations officer, my heels clicking on the polished floor of a new office, not Dad's old corner suite, but a space I designed with wide windows overlooking Seattle's skyline. The view reminded me of Puget Sound's shimmer, a symbol of the clarity I'd fought for. I'd taken my first real vacation in 12 years, a solo trip to a beach resort in Cannon Beach, Oregon, where I read novels, swam in the Pacific, and slept without an alarm for 10 glorious days. I came back changed, lighter, with boundaries I'd never dared set before. The company had changed too. Michael and I split roles. He took on client acquisition and marketing, his artistic flair landing 3 new accounts with bold campaigns. I handled operations, finances, and project execution, my domain. Dad stepped into an advisory role, mentoring younger staff as part of a 3-year retirement plan. The Pacific Heights contract was secure. Ed walked Robert Kane through our new structure, his gruff voice softening when I promised his project would stay on track. "You're the real deal." "Emma," he said. "Michael," meanwhile, shone with the Westridge expansion, his design concepts earning rave reviews. Our staff adapted fast, relieved the chaos had settled, and the 80-hour work weeks were history. WED rolled out new systems, streamlined workflows. Less overtime, more balance. Eleanor, our office manager, stopped by my desk one day. "This place feels alive again," she said, her eyes crinkling. "You and Michael, it's not just business, it's hope." Her words stuck with me, like the memory of painting the office with Dad and Michael years ago. Our laughter echoing off bare walls. Sunday dinners at Mom's. Queen Anne homes started again. But they were different. No more tense silences or forced smiles. Michael and I swapped ideas over Mom's beef stew, laughing about a client's wild demands. Dad was quieter, less commanding, while Mom watched us with hopeful eyes, like she saw the family we used to be. One night, as we cleared dishes, Dad pulled me aside in the kitchen. "That board presentation you and Michael gave last week," he said. "Awkward. It was better than anything I ever did, from James Carter." That was seismic an admission we'd surpassed him. I looked at the sketch Michael drew of me at 15. Now framed on my office wall, a girl under rain. Strong but alone. It wasn't just art, it was us. Then and now, rebuilding from the wreckage. I thought back to those bike races down the hill. Michael cheering even when I won. Families messy. I realized, but it's worth fighting for. My life was blooming too. I ran 3 times a week at Green Lake. The trail's rhythm grounding me, I joined a book club, laughing over novels with strangers who became friends. I was even considering a dog something unthinkable when work consumed me. And then there was Ethan, an engineer from the Pacific Heights project, whose dry humor and quiet strength made our dates feel like coming home. Over dinner one night, he raised a glass. "You fought for what you deserved. Emma, that's rare." My take. I learned that your worth isn't tied to someone else's promises, it's in how you stand up for yourself. Losing what I thought defined me opened a door to a better version of myself. One who works hard but lives harder. Sometimes, the deepest betrayals lead to the greatest rebirths. What about you? Have you ever had to fight for your value, maybe even against family? Drop your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. If this hit home, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with anyone struggling to claim their worth. Knowing your value isn't selfish, it's everything.